Here is a question that sounds almost too simple. Why do humans cook? Every other animal eats food the way nature gives it. A lion does not roast meat. A gorilla does not boil roots. A bird does not season dinner. But humans, everywhere you go, every culture on earth has some version of cooking. Fire, heat, smoke, boiling, roasting, steaming, baking. Something happens to food before we eat it. And that makes cooking one of the most universal human behaviors ever discovered. Not every culture builds cities. Not every culture writes books. Not every culture has the same religion, music, tools, or language. But every human culture cooks. And that is strange, because cooking is not just a habit. It is technology. And humans are the only animal that became biologically dependent on a technology in order to eat properly. You do not cook only because food tastes better. You cook because your body is built for cooked food. Your jaw is smaller than a chimpanzee's. Your teeth are smaller. Your gut is shorter. Your digestive system is less suited for chewing tough raw plants all day. That is not a mistake. That is evidence. Your body carries the fossil memory of fire. To understand why, imagine life before cooking. Around 2 million years ago, our ancestors were walking upright across African landscapes. They were clever. They used simple tools. But their diet was still rough. Raw fruits, raw roots, leaves, bark, shoots, insects, occasional meat. Food was hard, fibrous, bitter, and difficult to digest. Other primates can live this way because their bodies are built for it. Chimpanzees spend huge amounts of their day chewing, not because they enjoy it, because raw food demands it. If you want energy from raw roots and plants, your mouth and gut must do endless work. Chew, 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 then chew again. A life built around raw food is a life built around chewing. Humans are not built like that anymore. Our jaws are too small. Our guts are too short. Our brains are too energy hungry. A modern human trying to live like a raw food primate would struggle badly. So something had to change. And the change may have been fire. At some point, one of our ancestors tasted food touched by heat. Maybe meat left near flames. Maybe roots roasted by accident. Maybe plants softened by wildfire. We do not know the first meal, but we know the result. Cooked food was different, softer, safer, easier to chew, easier to digest, and most importantly, it released more usable energy. Heat changes food. When starches cook, they swell and open up. Your enzymes can reach them more easily. A raw root might hide much of its energy. A cooked root gives that energy away. When meat cooks, tough proteins loosen. Connective tissue softens. The body can break it down faster. When plants cook, cell walls weaken. Nutrients become easier to access. Toxins and germs are reduced. Cooking is almost like digesting food before it reaches your mouth. Fire became an outside stomach. And that changed everything. Suddenly, the same amount of food could give more calories. Suddenly, meals required less chewing. Suddenly, the body did not need such a massive gut. And the time saved was enormous. Instead of spending half the day chewing tough raw food, our ancestors had hours left over. Hours to make tools, hours to plan, hours to talk, hours to teach children, hours to sit around fire and become social in new ways. The campfire did not only cook dinner. It changed the day. It changed the night. It pushed predators away. It gave warmth. It created a place where people gathered. And around that fire, human life became more human. Then the body started changing too. In the fossil record, Homo erectus appears with a bigger brain, a taller body, smaller teeth, smaller jaws, and a more streamlined digestive system. That combination is important. A bigger brain is expensive. Your brain burns a huge amount of energy every day. You cannot build and maintain a brain like that on low-quality raw food unless you spend nearly the whole day eating. Cooking solved the math. More energy from food, less energy spent digesting, less time spent chewing, more fuel available for the brain. This is why some researchers argue that cooking did not come after humans became smart. Cooking may have helped make humans smart. Fire fed the brain that later built the world. And once our bodies adapted to cooked food, there was no easy way back. We lost the huge chewing equipment. We lost the long, raw food digestive system. We became the cooking ape, the animal that uses fire to make food biologically possible. That is why cooking is so different from every other technology. If you lose a phone, you are annoyed. If you lose a car, you walk. But if humans lose cooking completely, our bodies are in trouble. We are not chimpanzees. We are not gorillas. We are animals shaped by fire. And cooking changed more than bodies. It changed society. Raw food can be eaten alone, immediately. Cooked food creates a meal, and a meal requires a place, a fire, a shared time. Someone gathers, someone prepares, someone protects the food, someone shares it. The campfire may be one of the first centers of human social life. Around it, people traded stories, shared plans, warned each other about danger, taught skills, built bonds, laughed, watched the dark, and slowly became the kind of species that lives through memory, planning, language, and cooperation. Before temples, there was fire. Before cities, there was fire. Before books, there was fire. Before dinner tables, there was a circle of humans sitting around heat, eating food that no other animal could make. So tonight, when you turn on a stove, light a burner, roast something, boil something, or heat up leftovers in the dark, remember what you are doing. It may look ordinary. It may look like dinner, but it is one of the oldest human rituals still alive. You are repeating the act that softened our food, shrank our jaws, shortened our guts, freed our time, protected our nights, strengthened our groups, and helped feed the brain you are using right now. Every meal you cook is connected to that ancient fire. Every pot, pan, burner, and grill carries a million-year echo. You are not just making food hot. You are using the same force that changed our species, the same force that made raw roots useful, the same force that made meat easier to digest, the same force that gave our ancestors time to think, time to speak, time to learn, time to remember, time to become more than survival machines. That is what cooking did. It took food from the outside world and made it fit the human body. It turned the environment into energy. It turned danger into protection. It turned eating into community. And over time, it turned apes into humans. This is why your kitchen is stranger than it looks. The stove is not just a machine. The pan is not just a pan. The flame is not just a flame. It is a bridge between you and your ancestors, between raw nature and human life, between survival and society. The first cooked meal probably did not look impressive. Maybe it was burnt. Maybe it was smoky. Maybe it was half raw and half cooked. But it was enough. Enough for someone to notice. Enough for someone to try again. Enough for others to copy. Enough for the habit to spread. And once it spread, it became hard to stop. Fire made food better. Better food made bodies different. Different bodies made bigger brains possible. Bigger brains made culture explode. Culture made cooking even more important. And the loop continued. Fire, food, energy, brain, community, fire again. That loop is still inside your life. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack reheated at midnight. All of it comes from the same ancient discovery. Heat transforms food. Transformed food transforms bodies. Transformed bodies transform history. This is why food feels so human. We do not just eat. We gather. We wait. We smell. We share. We remember. A meal is biology, but it is also culture. It is chemistry, but it is also memory. It is survival, but it is also comfort. That is what makes cooking different. It sits at the beginning of everything human. Before the farm, before the village, before the king, before the written word, there was food and fire, and humans learning to become human. So the next time food starts sizzling, or a pot begins to steam, or a flame turns blue under a pan, think about what that flame means. It means someone once made food safer. Someone made food softer. Someone made food more powerful. Someone gave the brain more fuel. Someone gave the group more time. And that changed the future of life on Earth. Not with a weapon, not with a wheel, not with a city. With dinner, simple smoky cooked food. That was enough to start the transformation. Enough to reshape the mouth. Enough to reshape the gut. Enough to feed the brain. Enough to build the campfire circle. Enough to make us dependent on fire. And that dependence is still here. Hidden in your teeth. Hidden in your jaw. Hidden in your stomach. Hidden in your brain. And hidden in the way you gather around food. Humans cook because fire made food better. But we kept cooking because fire made humans possible. It is hard to think of a technology more intimate than that. Fire outside the body changed the body inside. Heat outside the mouth changed the mouth itself. A campfire on the ground changed the mind above it. That is the strange truth. The kitchen is ancient. The stove is prehistoric. The meal is older than civilization. And the act of cooking is older than almost everything you think of as human. So when the pasta sticks to the pan, or the leftovers look questionable, or you burn something by accident, the principle still stands. Cooking is not just something humans do. Cooking is one of the reasons humans became human.